I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, is here with me. And this is the presentation of the facts of the Lufthansa heist. December 11th, 1978. John F. Kennedy International Airport. A little after 3 a.m. East Coast time, a Ford Econoline 150 van, black, and a crash car make their way into the maze around Kennedy International Airport's shipping zones, where the air fleets, away from the passenger terminals, where the air fleets transfer equipment, data, also where they have a lot of cash. This begins the Lufthansa heist. In these last hours, there's news in New York of an arrest of a 78-year-old man associated with the Bonanno crime family. He is part of the chain of perpetrators. There was a large group, their wives, their families, who participated in this crime in 1978. What's important is they thought they were going to get $80,000, $90,000. They heaved out cash. This is small bills that was on its way to Germany for the enlisted men, the American soldiers. They needed cash, and Lufthansa was doing this service, and they were wrapped in black plastic bags, so they didn't actually get to count it the way you would in a bank vault. When they finally heaved out 40 black plastic bags, there was $6 million. That was way too much money. Called down a whole lot of trouble. Ed Hayes joins us, my consigliere, because it turns out we stopped the facts. Ed Hayes is in the movie Goodfellas, which is made from this incident and others, but the Lufthansa heist is featured in Goodfellas. Eddie, a very good evening to you.
How are you doing?
Well, I've told the facts, and there's hardly anybody left standing, Ed. The list of the criminals and their wives who participated in this, it's a long list of people who've either been murdered, disappeared, or died of natural causes somewhat young. You're still with us, Eddie.
Yeah.
So what we want to know is...
What about recovery?
Yeah, you're with us. You're with us. 1989, 1990. You're in the film itself.
Right.
What is your role, and what are your memories of being on set with De Niro and all the other stars?
Experience. First of all, the movie was made by Martin Scorsese, so it was great. It was a great opportunity to be there. And it's a great movie. It's one of the great gangster movies of all time. You know, everybody. There was a situation later on where somebody tried to shake down De Niro for money, and I was helpful, and he increased my role in the movie by like 10 seconds. So now you can see my face. Before you could just see my bald head, but now, now I'm there so you can see me. No, it was a great experience. De Niro's a fabulous actor, great fellow. Martin Scorsese is a genius. You know, it's just a wonderful experience.
Eddie, the guy arrested today, Vinny Asaro, 78 years old. I mean, he's gotten away with it for long enough, hasn't he? I mean,
listen, if you're a gangster, you die in jail or you die in the street. By die in the street, you mean somebody shoots you. So he had a long run. By the time, he had a long run.
Help the younger audience, Eddie. Here we are in the 21st century. The Gambinos, the Lucchese's, the Bonannos. What do they represent in New York history?
Well, they represent, at one time, New York City had 5 powerful mafia families, named after their bosses at various times, whoever there was most noteworthy boss. And as time went on, when they couldn't get political protection anymore, the increase in effectiveness in law enforcement, they've really faded away to not be very important. But at one time, during this period of time back then, they were an important group of people in New York City.
Right. The heist was chiefly Lucchese. The Gambinos came in on it because you had to share.
Right.
That was the nature. And the Bonannos family was in the background, but the man arrested today, the alleged criminal, is Bonanno family. So they're all this age, Eddie, or are there Bonanno derivatives today?
There are younger ones in that business, but they don't make much money. And the other thing is that when they get arrested, they turn state's evidence, so there's no future in it. You know, it used to be you could become a criminal, join the mafia, do 5 years through the course of your life, maybe 8 or 10, but die in your bed, and, you know, if nobody shot you, you could have a career. Now it's, you know, you end up going to jail for 20 or 30 years.
Eddie, these cases are really flashy. Arrests in the middle of the night. They're trotted out in front of the media. Lots of photographs. We've got one of them up on our website. But are these sure convictions, or do they just kind of?
They are. I mean, they're always convicted of something. The conviction rate in federal courts is like 98%. So there's not much chance of them losing. They don't arrest anybody unless they're sure they can do it. They have very favorable laws in federal court, and they're going to get convicted. Not all of them. I can't guarantee it, but most of them will get convicted.
There's a scene in Atlantic City with Burt Lancaster. I've always remembered it. He's walking along. The movie is set in the late 20th century, and he looks at the ocean, and he says to his companion, "It was bigger in the old days." Okay, fine. So I tell that anecdote about crime, Eddie. Was it bigger in the old days?
Oh, man, it was so much bigger.
Yeah, I knew it. This is the Burt Lancaster.
When you see The Godfather, there was a period of time where that was not an inaccurate description of organized crime.
You're kidding me.
Oh, no. At one time, they had tremendous political relationships. They controlled the casinos in Las Vegas. They had a tremendous control in the unions. You know, I mean, look, the business about Frank Sinatra wanting to get certain roles and gangsters helping him out, it's all true.
Eddie, I go to Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn. I feel like I'm right back there.
Well, you're not.
Let's go to Brooklyn. The streets are remarkably clean swept, Mary.
Very, very, very
Not
clean.
where I live.
Eddie, how did this happen? Brooklyn has clean streets. Mary can walk very carefully and not fall.
No problem.
And on the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side, there are tractor trailers getting stuck. There are people plunging on Fifth Avenue. Eddie, Mr. de Blasio, what's happened, Eddie? Do we have an explanation for this?
Yeah, I'm living in a bad neighborhood. He doesn't like
Should have moved to Brooklyn with me, Eddie.
At first, to tell everybody what's happening.
My daughter lives in Brooklyn. My daughter lives in Bushwick.
The theory was that the streets in New York are always going to get attended to, no matter the mayor, because of the famous John Lindsay incident back in the 1960s, when the boroughs did not get attended to for weeks, and when the mayor went, John Lindsay, a very handsome, attractive national figure, went to the boroughs, he was yelled at, cursed. And that held true until these last hours. Mary, I didn't believe it when I first heard it during the snowstorm. Could a mayor be this naive not to clean up the Upper East and Upper West Side? Eddie, is there an explanation other than incompetence?
Look, it has to be a certain degree of incompetence, but I do think that he focused his energies more on the outer boroughs. And I think part of it is he may have wanted to show that he cared about the outer boroughs and not want to look like he always gives the extra edge to Park Avenue and Madison area. I really don't know. He is so different from the mayors that we've had that it's very hard to understand his motivation.
Eddie, watching local television, the sanitation commissioner comes on local TV first thing in the morning after the blizzard, and he says, well, the plows got caught in traffic. And I thought, traffic? Right. Are you kidding me?
All right. The mobsters were bigger in the old days. Finally, one of the last remaining alive on the planet criminals alleged to the Lufthansa heist of December 1978, is in custody. Ed Hayes, who stars in Goodfellas, a great mobster movie made in 1989-1990. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal and the host of Opinion Journal. I'm John Batchelor.